But the big story at the moment, as of now, the finance minister has reached North Block even as uncertainty continues over whether the budget will be presented after all or not. The Congress is insisting on an adjournment of the budget following the death of senior Kerala MP Mr. E. Ahmed. Remember, the finance minister is scheduled to present the budget today, so the government is not at the moment backing out entirely. However, sources confirming to India Today that the government is under pressure to postpone the budget following the death of an MP. By now, the finance minister would have been out with his documents and the entire process would have begun. The question is the budget too important to be delayed? And would the delay in the budget become a security concern? On the other hand, there is the question of propriety and whether in terms of propriety and in terms of tradition, can the budget now be allowed to go ahead as scheduled? Should India break away from tradition is the question we are raising. Ashok Lahiri, former Chief Economic Advisor, among my various guests who's joining me this morning. Mr. Lahiri, you wanted to make a point. Should that budget be postponed even to, let's say, 5 o'clock? Already it's been delayed because by now the finance minister would have been out, the cabinet would be held. That process is already delayed. Your views?
I don't think 5 o'clock makes sense because it's with a lot of effort that the tradition was broken and the budget was brought back from 5 o'clock, which was during the colonial times, to 11 o'clock. But the issue is whether it should be postponed or not. I do believe that there is a need for rationalization. We have too many holidays. For everything what we do, we declare a holiday.
I'm just going to hold you because at the moment we are getting live pictures of the finance minister now. So he is actually setting about it as if it is a regular day. We will now know in the next hour what the opposition's protests do to that entire process. But for now, the finance minister is there with his ready with the budget and ready to present it. The question now is whether he goes ahead with the process or not, or whether there is any delay at all. So the government is going about business as usual. The question is whether the opposition will allow him to go about business as usual. We will know that in the next hour. Particularly the Congress party at 9:30 a.m. is holding a meeting, we are told. Your sense, sir. Go ahead. What does this mean? Does this mean now that we will have the budget today, or is there a likelihood of the budget still being postponed?
See, if I remember the process right,
yes,
he with his briefcase,
yes,
and a few 4 members of the budget team will go
yes
to the president and brief him.
Yes.
There is no security problem when he is briefing the president about the budget. The main issue is the cabinet meeting where the prime minister is present. It happens in parliament, and then right after that the budget is presented. The question, we will know that the budget is going to be presented at 11 o'clock if the cabinet meeting goes through. So you can't still conclude. Now, Rajdeep, just to complete my thing, I think it may be moving into the 21st century and a modern India. We may want to have the rule that with heavy hearts, when someone passes away, we will not declare a holiday. We'll go about it, we'll be sad, but we'll go about working.
Okay, let me go to Maushmi Singh. Let me go to Maushmi Singh, who's got the Congress leader Pramod Tiwari with her. Maushmi, is the Congress adamant that the budget cannot take place today?
That's right. We'll take that question straight from Pramod Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, is the Congress adamant that the budget should not take place today, considering the fact that your former minister is passing away?
This has been the tradition of the parliament since the beginning, that we can remember by them out that says of it and does not say any business of the
Alright.
This is the solution today. That the again is a very clear parliament. Then I don't know why this should not be possible for the solution of the parliament. Second, once this supplementary why will the government ask the Arun? I think that's again one of
the audio is not entirely clear, but the message we are getting from Pramod Tiwari, the Congress wants the budget postponed, they want the House adjourned. Mohammad Bashir of the Muslim League now joining me. Mr. Bashir, your response?
Yes. If they present the budget today, It is unfair on the part of the government, and it is against the president, and it is disrespect to the DCC member. Because the practice here too was, if a sitting member dies, normally the house will not function. That is the president. If they violate that principle, it's a major kind of deviation from the president, and that's not fair on their part. We are of that firm opinion.
Objecting to it, you believe that the precedent must be respected, the budget must be postponed is what you are saying at the moment, that the budget must be postponed by a day is what is being suggested by the Muslim League. I can see whether, is this an emotional argument you are making because it is your senior leader?
It is not an emotional kind of argument. It was a practice here to years and years back it was started, and the practice will continue, and that was the practice adopted here too, and there is no meaning in deviating from that. It means that they are showing disrespect to a member, because why should they deviate from the practice? They must honor the practice, and that is the president also. They cannot deviate from that. I am of that firm opinion.
Okay, we are getting more and more reactions from the opposition. Now, I want to understand this, Shweta. You've covered several budgets. What if the opposition decides that we will boycott this budget? That will also be a dangerous precedent. So clearly, the government is in a bit of a bind. If all the opposition parties get together, and that seems to be the mood at the moment.
Absolutely. It'll be a very hostile environment to present the budget. The budget is a political and an economic document. You're presenting it, one, you've already riled the opposition because you did not concede to their demand of postponing the budget. You've in fact preponed it, timing it very close to these crucial elections, and then to present a budget in a in a hostile setting would not be the best way forward.
It would not be the best way forward. I should add that the NCP also has said that they want the budget postponed. So it's not just the Congress and the IUML. Yeah. The NCP also, senior NCP leader Praful Patel, we are told, is also going to be making a statement shortly, and he too is going to say the budget should be postponed at the moment. Prasanjit, what stand do you expect the left to take today?
Well, I think that the entire opposition would actually be demanding it.
So you believe the entire opposition, but will the opposition be left with no choice if the cabinet is held, the government decides to go ahead and say we are going ahead with the budget?
It will be most unfortunate.
They cannot do that.
They cannot do that.
They cannot do that because GST anyways, you have the Trinamool opposing GST.
Yes.
You have a lot of states that the finance minister has had to really work into getting them on board to push through GST. Then you've had demonetization, which again the states have complained that they've lost revenue because of demonetization. And then you go ahead and present a budget when your political partners, other political parties are saying that don't go ahead and present it. He's a very tall
The government
leader.
will be seen as being needlessly confrontational.
Needlessly confrontational.
The government will be seen as being needlessly confrontational. Rajiv, I'll get you in a moment. We want to go to our, I want to understand from you, Rajiv. Do you believe that this will cast some kind of a shadow? The politics has already cast a shadow earlier with, the matter going to the Supreme Court, whether the budget should be held before elections. Now you have a fresh controversy and a serious one at that, because the charges that the opposition is now making is insensitivity, and there's a confrontational combative attitude. You cannot hold a union budget in this atmosphere. I know that Mr. Arun Jaitley has made a strong statement by coming out of Finance Ministry with the budget papers. I am not sure though how long this combative atmosphere can remain over the next couple of hours if we are to have the Finance Minister present the budget at 11 a.m. Clearly 11 a.m. obituary references will take precedence. Maybe after that the budget can take place, but the atmosphere seems confrontational at the moment. Does that cast a shadow over this exercise?
Yeah, I think and it's it's in the interest of the government to avoid such a situation, because we've seen how opposition has taken them on as far as demonetization and the effect of demonetization is concerned, the impact it has had across the country. And here it would almost seem like a bull-headed government trying to get its way through every which way possible. So why not avoid a situation like that and let it happen?
Is the government behaving like a bull in a china shop? Is this a bull-headed attitude which the government is taking at the moment? Can the government risk this confrontation over the budget at a moment like this? Can it not wait for 24 hours? These are some of the questions that are being raised, because politically this may become a highly sensitive issue now, given the fact that Mr. Jaitley is showing off those budget papers. Will he have to wait for a day? What decision will the speaker take, and how will industry react? Devina, my colleague, is with tax experts. Is industry, Devina, the world of finance, ready for a 24-hour delay? Do they see this as something which will be a major interruption?
Well, let me take this question to Priyajit Ghosh, who's indirect tax partner at KPMG. Mr. Ghosh, shouldn't a budget be above politics at the end of the day? This kind of chaos, this kind of confusion is only going to impact the industry adversely, which is looking at budget 2017 for its own fiscal roadmap as well.
Yeah, I think the focus has to be on the industry, and because this is run up to a lot of events where you kind of take time out to analyze it, and you also make the systems ready to take into account the changes in rate of tax. But I would say that even if that were not to happen today, we have tomorrow. It's not the ideal situation or happy situation to be in, but because a lot of the changes takes effect from a particular date, not from within immediate effect, we will be good to go. But yes, I mean, my wish list is going to be, it has to happen today, and I'm good to go.
So already we've seen preponement of the budget. This time, for the first time, you have Feb 1st that's been set as a date.
Yes.
A delay of 24 hours, will that impact plans for India Inc.?
Not really, not really. In long run, the government's objective is to implement everything from 1st of April. I think 24 hours will not make a difference.
But already you have the industry with high expectations and everybody is keenly watching out for 11 a.m. if the finance minister is presenting the budget, laying out their own plans as well. So isn't this kind of confusion and chaos could have been avoided, because it sends a negative signal at the end of the day that budget should be at least an exercise that the government should be clear about?
Yeah, I completely agree on that, and you can't help the situation that we are in, but it's not a happy situation to be in, for sure, because it's all about reforms, it's all about policies, and the timing of announcement is kind of leading up to a area which is quite out of context.
Absolutely. And Rajdeep, let me tell you, the stock markets will be opening in just a moment from now, so we'll have to wait and watch to see what the triggers that will be seen on the market. As you said, it's a confrontational attitude that we're looking at as the finance minister heads to the parliament, with the opposition rallying against the budget. But the moot point is the budget should be above politics. It should be an exercise which should send a positive and a united signal not only to the industry but global investors as well, who are keenly watching out for India's fiscal roadmap. Back to you.
Yes, quickly. Yes.
Global investors. I just messaged an investment banker on the possible impact of postponing the budget by 24 hours, and he responded saying nothing, absolutely. In terms of perception or global image of India, it really does not, it wouldn't make much of a difference.
One of the points that we perhaps are not touching upon is it's a break from tradition.
Yes.
Now, break from tradition is essential in a developing country.
Yes.
But the question is, should this break from tradition, where we declare a holiday on someone's unfortunate death, should be done away with today on the occasion of the budget?
Yes.
But having said that, you must also remember, your mood of the nation showed that demonetization, which is a controversial issue, was seen politically as a positive move by many. So similarly, if the government breaks with the tradition, I'm not saying they will, and presents the budget, the message will go, it's a strong government, and I don't even know what the political fallout will be. We are assuming that everyone will say, very bad.
Yeah,
but
no, you're absolutely right. The government maybe wants to send out the message, it's business as usual, we are not going to stop business. So I think the message from the government is coming out very clear. We intend to go ahead with business as usual. We can't change simply because the past, simply because the budget is at the moment far more important. Business matters much more, is the message being sent out by the government at the moment. But the flashes that we are getting, Somnath Chatterjee telling India today that after the obituary references, maybe the budget can be passed. So clearly that is one option now that could be looked at. Maybe the budget will, instead of 11 o'clock, take place after noon once the obituary references are done. But whether the opposition will accept that view, we don't know. What stand will the opposition then take? We will wait and see. Clearly at the moment, it is up in the air. Will the budget take place as scheduled, or will it get postponed by a day? We will know in the next hour or so. Stay tuned.